Programming on 90.7 WKGC and the Commodore Sports Network is sponsored by Sweet Bay. Sweet Bay is a bayfront village in Panama City that features parks, walking trails to the water, a future town center, and more. A community connected at the water's edge, Sweet Bay. More information about Sweet Bay online at sweetbayfl.com or 844-35-SWEET.
This is Coach's Corner.
Welcome, Commodore fans, to Coach's Corner, a production of Gulf Coast State College and the digital media program here at the college. Today, Coach Scoville and I will talk about how the Lady Commodores are doing and what they've done and what's in front of us, and it's just exciting this time of the year. So, Lady Commodores right now 13-1 overall. More importantly, 1-0 in the Panhandle Conference, ranked number 4 in the state coaches poll, ranked number 9 in the NJCAA national poll, and those two polls will come out this week and refresh themselves. So there'll be some changes there. So I was about to give the other team like we were doing a ball game tonight, Coach, but we got to back up and talk about this. Lady Commodores dropped one game, Wabash Valley, which is ranked 7th in the country right now on a long road game, and but before the conference started, we played Shelton State, went to their place. Last year they at the national tournament. They are a team that normally you kind of judge yourself by. And Lady Commodores won 55-48, but that game was a little challenging at times.
Yeah, we didn't play well. We went up to Americas, Georgia in a holiday tournament and played 3 games, Shelton being the last of the 3. And we got behind. We couldn't score, and so we get in the third quarter, we're down. In fourth quarter, we're down 12 points. And I don't know if something happened to them and they couldn't score, and we scored 32 points in one quarter, and we had just scored 5 the previous quarter and Shelton 3. So us and Shelton State put women's basketball back about 20 years in that third quarter. But in the fourth, they had a hard time. We pressed a little bit, and we came back, and we won that ball game. So it was a great victory for us to learn that, don't give up, and don't look at the time and score. Just keep playing, play the next possession. And so that was a great win for these young ladies and to get ready for Panhandle play.
And the nice thing about that is they were tested. A lot of the games you have played are against caliber teams that test you to try to prepare for the Panhandle Conference, especially for a freshman that comes in, has never played at this level, and y'all probably talk about Panhandle Conference play, but it is different here than
Panhandle's different. It's night in and night out. As you say, we played some good games, some pre-conference games, Wabash and Shelton and Eastern and St. Pete. I can name several more. So we played a great pre-conference schedule to get ready for adversity, to play on the road. We took long trips. So at the end of the day, this past Saturday night, that all paid dividends, and we were up 12, and then we were down 14. We were down 4 with 30 seconds to go, and you say, how in the world do you win that or go into overtime, and pulled off a big victory against Tallahassee? So we know we've got one victory in the Panhandle.
No, we got one anyway, and so and at that time Tallahassee's 18-0. Scoring, averaging almost 100 points a game. They're at their house. They're the defending national champions, when we went in there. Won 101-96. Actually, y'all set a scoring record for the ladies' side inside the Eagle Dome at 197 points.
Yeah.
So in other words, if you were a spectator, it had to be a whale of a game.
Absolutely.
Because Herman kept saying, man, it's not fair for either team to lose after they played this hard. But it was a whale of a game. Lady Commodores come out at the end of the first quarter. It was 21-18.
Yeah.
And then in the second quarter they scored 20, we scored 17, and then they scored 22, and we scored 18. And in the fourth quarter we scored 24, they scored 20.
Yep. And
then in overtime we tied each other.
Yep.
But the most important one is we come back in there and done that. Got to talk a little bit about Alexis Dye. I mean, she scored 32 points, has 23 rebounds.
Absolutely.
Just from tip to final buzzer, played, I think, a complete game for you.
Well, anytime you score that many points and get that many rebounds and have to play that many minutes, it was a great effort by her. But she's been kind of coming. I've told her many times, I think she's one of the top 10 players in the country, and felt like she needed to play more consistently, though. Not a good quarter, bad quarter, or good game, bad game. And probably for the last 3 or 4 games, she's gotten more consistent, more playing time, more production, and scored 24 points one night in the holiday tournament in Americas. So, things are coming, and she's so athletic and so quick and so deceiving. She's undersized, but she's just such a tremendous athlete. And teams have had a hard time defending her. So we know that I told her it's just going to get harder because they're going to double team, they're going to triple team. So we got to get other people ready to knock down shots when they try to take her game away.
And you saw that some at Tallahassee because they started saying, okay, somebody else may beat us, but she's not.
Right.
And so, which would lead us perfectly in Davis. Ended up with 30 points, scored 24 of them, I think, in the fourth quarter, had 2 points for the first half.
Right.
But all of a sudden just found it in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that's Brittany. She's, once she hits a big shot, you can kind of count it the rest of the way. But it took us, 3 quarters for her to get comfortable. But in high school, she was used to being the go-to player, and they double teamed, and she still had to score. So, when we get in these situations where we're behind, she kind of shows up, and that's her moment she doesn't hide, she doesn't go fade into the distance and trying to not have the ball. She wants it, she makes plays, and she helped us the other night. Obviously, if her and Alexis didn't perform the way they did, we certainly wouldn't have won.
So in her case, you saw her come back and do that, and in that fourth quarter, she was almost begging for the ball.
Absolutely.
Because she wanted the ball.
And we wanted her to have it.
and that's great because they would forget the pressure. I'm in this game now. I'm ready here, and a tremendous outing for her. Astu Gay with a double-double, 11 points, 15 boards. Pretty solid game for you post.
Yeah, she's been rebounding a little bit better lately. Probably the biggest thing is she actually had a triple-double. Unfortunately, the triple was 11 turnovers. But so we've got to fix that area. But she's doing a much better job on the boards. If you look at the rebounds, it looks like we should have won by about 30. 75 rebounds to 43, but at least we did rebound. That's been a problem here this year of letting people get to the offensive boards, and it's still a work in progress. We have to get better, but a win is a win. Yeah. Ugly, however it was, 39 turnovers and win is pretty amazing.
So if you look at that 75 rebounds, you're averaging about 40 a game. Right. So that being able to control the boards helped. And you did talk about 39 turnovers to their 15. Yeah. When they decide they want to press and get after you and get in your grill, and if they don't call it, it's tough.
Yeah, really the press was, for the first quarter, what we worked on so hard, was not a factor. And it was more about, I think, us getting a little fatigued and then making some poor passes, not so much how aggressive the press was. We kind of, I thought it was unforced errors, to be honest, and that's been a problem all year too. And we have to continue to work on these things, and because the next game, like we say, the reward of beating the number 3 team in the country and the defending national champions is to get to go play the number 1 team. But we do get to play them at home, and hopefully there'll be some excitement and the fans come out. We definitely need our fans to be our sixth man to help us. But that's going to be an exciting game, and we're looking forward to it.
So let's talk a little bit about Farsi running the point. I thought she did an extremely good job running that point, coming in as a freshman with that much heat on her. And
that's been a work in progress because you've got the language barrier. She's kind of a 1-2 combo guard, so playing the point exclusively has not been her thing. So she's had a lot of negatives towards trying to build to be the point guard for a team who's trying to compete in the Panhandle play. So defensively she's outstanding. Offensively we've got to work on some things, but she handled that pressure very well early. And then Peanut Payton came in and gave some good minutes for her to be able to rest and to watch and for us to talk to her. So I thought our point guard play was pretty solid this past Saturday.
So the only thing I didn't talk about when we talked about Di was she played a lot of that game, carrying a lot of fouls, finished with 4 fouls, did a nice job of staying on the floor, staying in the game, because there was a lot of fouls. Gaywood 4, Bondu with 4, but talking about a double overtime game also.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing that because I think Alexis had 4 in regulation, so I was a little bit nervous that when we kept going in these overtimes, we got to hurry, we got to try to figure out how to win this because we're going to run out of people. So, and they kind of did too. Yeah. They were in foul trouble. Both teams emotional, nervous. You do some sloppy things when you're trying to figure it out, but we've said Panhandle so much. I was sick of hearing it myself. And so now we know what Panhandle play is. Every team has a unique personality and a unique threat to us, but at least we know what it's like. And to go into double overtime, Yeah, it was exciting.
It was exciting. You know, it was a great game. You know, if you listen to it on the radio, hopefully we did a great job of making you be a part of it, you know. But on the other hand, if you were there, we played earlier in the day.
Yes.
I like that. Herman kind of, he had mixed emotions about it, but when we got home earlier, he kind of liked it too, I think.
Well, you know, I even asked Rob because that's, you know, all the years I've coached, that was probably the biggest crowd I've seen at a Tallahassee game, women's game too. And of course, their women won the national title, and that probably brought some interest. And their men are very, very good and ranked, what, number 3 in the country. But I think that afternoon game was a factor on the crowd. And, you know, us and Tallahassee are the only 2 schools that wanted to experiment with it when we had the option. So, you know, we'll see how it affects the crowd at Gulf Coast, but it is, travel is nice, getting home earlier is nice, and so hopefully the crowd will kind of look at that and say, hey, we can go watch some really good basketball, and then we can still go out to dinner that night, or we can go to a movie, or whatever they want to do to socialize, or not. It's just a great, I think it's going to be a great thing, and I hope that the rest of the Panhandle decides in the future to do this on Saturdays too.
So one small benefit was in Tallahassee, the sun was coming through the roof, so it actually made the gym brighter because Herman kept asking, hey, did y'all fix your lights or something? And
that's exactly what Rob answered, said the lighting was better for the second game.
Second, you know, so in other words, the lighting was much better than if we'd have started it dark, and it's always been dark in that gym. So, all right, like I said, Lady Commodores will open Panhandle Conference play Wednesday night here in the Billy Harrison Fieldhouse against 15-0. 1-0 in Panhandle Conference. They won Saturday at Pensacola. They're ranked number 1 in the state coaches poll and number 1 in the NJCA national poll. So, what do we know about Northwest Florida other than
they're
really
solid and they've got a lot of veteran play. You know, when they really look the part. When we all say whether we have the parts or look the part, they definitely look the part and have the parts. They got size, they have strength, they have speed, they have good ball handling ability, they have really good 3-point shooting ability. So we're definitely going to have to play one of our better games to be able to compete with them. And you know, I'm glad we're at home. So hopefully, but now we've played more at Northwest than we have at home. So I'm not sure, we might be better off to go over there and play because we played pretty good when we played our games over there in the pre-conference season. And
so hopefully that pays dividends. And to talk a little bit about that with the hurricane and the buildings messed up and everything and all the things and the loss of a teammate, everything the Lady Commodores have had to endure. To be sitting where you're at right now is pretty amazing.
Yeah, to have one loss and you know, being able to play at home, everything, you know, it's all been kind of crazy. And, you know, you go out of town and things are clean and you come back and you get on 23rd Street and you're like, oh gosh, you know, but you just have to be resilient and say today's a good day and we're all breathing and living and we have the opportunity to play, so we're going to go try to play the best we can.
And that's why I tell everybody today's better than it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Every day it does get a little better.
Yeah.
It gets a little better here. So, so Lady Commodores will be at home in a big game.
Yes.
But all the 11 remaining conference games are all big.
Oh yeah. Don't get too excited about anything.
So 11 conference games, only 2 teams move on to the state tournament.
Right.
So that's the other pressure piece of it. And briefly, I think we have about a minute. I know there was some discussion if you didn't play in a region qualifier, you couldn't be in an at-large team. Did that die?
No, I don't think that was in writing. I think those are maybe some feelings of some coaches or maybe some of the people that on the committee. You know, I'm not sure where that's going. I know the best way for that not to be a factor with your team is finish in the top 2. And not be in that position, be in control of your own destiny. We talk about that all the time. So, you know, as much as I always try to figure out that at-large piece, you know, and where could we, you know, can we finish 3rd and still go, and do we have good enough wins? But the best thing would be in control of your own destiny and be one of the top 2.
So for Coach Rooney School, I'm James Baxley. I'll be back in just a moment, Commodore fans, with Coach Jay Powell and talk about how his team's doing here on the Commodore Sports Network.
Programming on 90.7 WKGC and the Commodore Sports Network is sponsored by Sweet Bay. Sweet Bay is a bayfront village in Panama City that features parks, walking trails to the water, a future town center, and more. A community connected at the water's edge, Sweet Bay. More information about Sweet Bay online at sweetbayfl.com or 844-35-SWEET.
Welcome back, Commodore fans. I got Coach Jay Powell with me. We're going to talk about how the men have done thus far. Panhandle Conference play open Saturday, and what's coming up this week. So Commodores right now 12-6 overall, 0-1 in the Panhandle Conference, are receiving votes in the state coaches poll. So Coach, let's back up and talk. You had a classic that took place. Let's talk a little bit about your classic that took place before the conference play started Saturday.
Okay, yes, sir. You know, we share with the men, and we know as a program that we're fortunate to be able to host a couple of classics during the season. This year, obviously our Thanksgiving Classic, we weren't able to host, but then our Holiday Classic on December 30th and 31st we were, and it's really become a neat thing where we have Chipola play at noon both days, Northwest Florida State College play at 2 p.m. each day, and then we are the final game at 4 p.m. It's an honor to be able to host classics because not each institution is able to do so. We have to visit PanamaCityBeach.com for their assistance in putting that on and helping us make that classic possible. The games were good games to watch. There's multiple factors in that. We get to not drive anywhere and scout 2 of our 4 conference opponents, and so that's a great thing. It's great to have basketball for our local community played at a high level over the holidays when people sometimes get a little antsy of sitting around the house. And then we get 2 home games against quality competition in order to get ready for conference play. So we're very fortunate and thankful to get to do that. And we got 2 wins again this season, and so that's always great too because we love winning.
Yep, everybody wants to win, and so open Panhandle Conference play, opened early, played earlier. And before we jump into that, like playing earlier, don't like playing earlier? I know Gulf Coast and Tallahassee are the only 2 teams in the conference right now playing that early schedule. What's your thoughts about playing early?
I believe that a little earlier on Saturdays is a great idea. Obviously, we have 2 Saturday home dates this season, so we'll see how it is for the crowd. But where I grew up, Saturday afternoon college basketball was the norm, and so I think it's great. People are able to get out to the game during the daylight hours, watch great basketball, get home, or go have dinner after the game, and then get home at a reasonable hour. You know, sometimes our games, when they don't start until 7:30 p.m., sometimes they don't end until almost 10 o'clock or after. And that's pretty late, especially on those Wednesdays. That's pretty late for a lot of people. Fortunately, we're so blessed here to have our games on local television. People can get home and watch them. But I think it's a great idea. I enjoyed it on Saturday, and I think it's something that the other schools eventually will say, you know what, that's a good idea, and we need to do what Tallahassee and Gulf Coast have done.
If you look at that, one of the benefits was that was the best lit I've seen that gym.
Amen.
Played in the middle of the day. Herman thought they put new lights in, and by the time your game started, but by the time the game was over with, you could tell it was going to be dark again because the sun had gone down.
That's a good point.
I like that piece of it. It would be nice. Saturday we're on the road at Pensacola. It'd be nice to have that factor because when you finish at 10, it's midnight before you get home, and that makes it tough. But let's talk about a tough game, a heartbreaker really, because the men had played hard and they had battled and come up short 84-80, and we're right there, 13 ties, 11 lead changes. I mean, it was like, and we're playing a team that's nationally ranked on their floor, and, the men had just played hard and come up a little short.
Yes, the men did, and they, until the last 5 minutes maybe, offensively and defensively, we were able to execute our game plan very well, and it was an odd occasion in the locker room after the game where there wasn't a whole lot of, anger or disappointment. The men gave us everything that they had, with the exception of a little bit of focus at the end to make a few plays. And I'm going to do my best over the next 11 games. I don't want to make excuses for my guys, but I love those guys and I care about them. And so, you know, we let a lead slip away, but you mentioned the ties and the lead changes. So it was, even though we built up an 11-point lead at one point, it was a lot closer than that, back and forth. And we just, if I can, I'll put it this way. Over the break, I was able to watch several high school practices, and by very, very good high school coaches. And when I think about our 10 guys and 8 of them being true freshmen, and I watch the way that they would have been practicing and preparing a year ago, and what we expect of them and demand of them, and then what we're doing when we go out in a Panhandle Conference game, for our guys to step up and play and compete and want to win as badly as they did Saturday night, I'm going to have my guys back on that. We made some mistakes that hopefully as we get a little more mature and we get some experience under our belt, we won't make. But as you said, it was a heartbreaker because the men had really performed at a high level.
So, and by the numbers, you know, at the half it was 34-31. Commodores went in the locker room up, you know, and then they came back. Got to talk about Holden coming off the bench, scoring 34 points for you. He just, I mean, I thought he played a well of a game for you.
He sure did. Cameron has a great competitive spirit, and you know, he went to the line I think 31 times, made 22 of the 31 free throws, and competed on both ends. We were able to kind of find a little niche of getting him the ball in some places that he was able to make plays. And I'm going to do something right here that you probably have never heard a coach that's just lost a game say. The officials did an outstanding job of calling the fouls that were committed. And we had a man foul out too.
Yep.
But when we went and we attacked the basket strong, they made the calls. And so on the show, I don't ever, and in the media, don't ever talk poorly about officials or try not to. Every once in a while you have, and I've just kind of nodded. But they deserve a lot of credit because sometimes it's hard to sit there, nope, that was a foul last possession, and it was a foul on the other end, so it's got to be a foul. It's got to be a foul. And the officials did a nice job Saturday night, even though we came up short in the win.
And Herman and I even commented on that. When you got both coaches and the officials here, they're probably doing a good job.
Yeah.
Because you got to realize only half the calls they make, one of them will agree with because the other one's against them. So, but when both coaches are there, you know, I thought those guys in a highly competitive environment because both teams were there and they were battling and they were playing to win. And I'm like you, I think they did a good job. They were consistent at both ends. They called it and in that part. But, you know, Holden did get to the free throw line a lot. That was for a conference opener and to score 34 points. And if he only gets better from there, wow.
What we've stressed with him is, one is consistency and let that competitive fire show. And because I love that. I love it when a man kind of, not like anything towards a player, but will make a play and clench his fist and be fired up and energetic. We want that to continue. He's done that on and off all non-conference season, but now we want that to be every night. And what we've challenged him with is, obviously he was he was ranked the best player in Middle Georgia out of high school. But obviously being the sixth man is a different role for him. And we've challenged him, Cameron, I've told him, I'm not saying you won't start any, but boy, if you could relish this six-man role and you could try to be the best sixth man in the whole country, what an asset to our team. And he is, since we've kind of addressed that with him, man, he has just welcomed that role and competed for us. Really proud of him.
So Rivera, 15 points. You know, Herman and I talked about it. I think our post plays is a little stronger and better this year than it's been. You know, I think those guys playing in the post we're good there.
I agree, and I would say that all around, even with our youth, we've and this is not speaking ill about last season.
Oh no, you have great players.
Yeah. I think that we've definitely got it, you know, going upward. We're just going to have some lumps, and Saturday night was one of them because we're a little inexperienced. But But with that being said, I like Rivera. We pulled away and built our lead because he was making plays, and it definitely hurt us when he fouled out on a call that could have gone either way, went against us. But calls on our end might have gone for us at times. It equals out. Reggie did well. And in our post, we've been able to play Jamal Burke 4 games now, well, 5 games now, including Saturday. And you were able to see a few times having a 6'10" man that's long. That one time he ran the floor well and caught it, and he was outside the 3-point line. He took his 2 steps and dunked it. That was an impressive play for a guy that's just in his 5th college game, to make that, catch it, have his steps, and go up and finish with a dunk. So Jamal, and we didn't play because of the way Tallahassee ended up attacking us. We didn't play Johan and Dolo and Ike on Saturday. But I would guess this week in the game against Northwest Florida and Pensacola that both of those men are going to have to play some good minutes for us to be successful.
So Owens puts up 15 for you. That going to be pretty consistent, you think?
We hope so. He's nursing a little hamstring injury. You couldn't really tell it too much Saturday night, but he's actually getting treatment with our athletic trainer as we speak, as we're filming this. So hopefully he'll get back to 100% very quickly because he has been our leading scorer this season.
So, and quickly we'll move on. The reward of playing Tallahassee on Saturday is we come in and play Northwest Florida, 15-2 overall, 1-0 in the Panhandle Conference. They defeated Pensacola Saturday, ranked number 2 in the state coaches poll, and ranked number 3 in the NJCAA national poll. And you've had a chance to see them. They're averaging 95 points a game, Coach. What do we think?
They score it at a very high level. They're very efficient offensively in transition and in the half court. We have, I guess, a matrix you would say, but it gauges everything even at our level, and it's an online system, and it ranks different offensive categories. And when you look at Northwest Florida's, it is ranked excellent, 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 very good. Like 1 or 2 categories, maybe average. So they're a very good team as always. They have good size. The thing that sticks out to me is it's going to be, they have all sophomores and 1 freshman, and we have all freshmen and 1 sophomore. And so just totally the opposite there. And so our young group, we get to have a home game, and which I'm not losing sight of. I'm so thankful and appreciative that we're having home games. And so we got to be ready. They'll be ready to play against us, but we're going to continue to stay upbeat and build off of the effort and the intensity we had Saturday. And we've got to bring that 11 more times as we grow and mature and get better. If we play with the tenacity we did Saturday, we're going to find success throughout the next 11 games.
I agree with that. Quickly, let's look at state coaches poll. Tallahassee 1, Northwest Florida State 2, Chipola 4, Pensacola State 9. Gulf Coast receiving votes. If we go down to the national tournament poll, or the national poll, Northwest Florida is 3, Tallahassee is 4, Chipola is 18, Daytona State 19, and Eastern Florida State is 25. And then the quickest thing, Panhandle Conference-wise, Tallahassee 1-0 in the Panhandle Conference, Northwest 1-0. Chipola hadn't played yet, and then Gulf Coast 0-1, and Pensacola 0-1. So Commodores be at home with everything that's happened. Wednesday night, come out and support the Commodores in the Billy Harrison Fieldhouse. I'm James Spaxley, and speaking for Coach Jay Powell. We'll see you next time on the Commodore Sports Network.
This has been Coach's Corner with your host, James Baxley.